Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today I thought we would get on with recapping the logic board on this Dragon 32. So without further ado, let's get the logic board out of here, and we'll whip these capacitors out. We've got some nice new capacitors here to replace them with. So we will whip them out, and we will test some of these old capacitors against the nice new ones, and we will see how worn some of these old capacitors are. I have noticed there are a few tantalum capacitors in here. Now I will leave them for now, and we'll keep our eye on them. Generally speaking, I found they are fairly reliable, providing they're kept within their voltage limits. If you overvolt tantalum capacitors, or if you connect them the wrong way around, they do have a tend to blow their top, with quite surprising results, as I've discovered in the past. Anyway, let's get this logic board out of here, and we can look at oops, let me get a suitable screwdriver. Come on, where's he gone? That's what I want. And we'll get this out of the case, and we can, like I said, then we can have a look at what we need to do with it. As you can see, as I am working on the logic board, I do have my static strap on, and I am working on a grounded static mat, so there is no worry about damaging the board. Oh, excuse me. Not too many screws in one of these. I do like the Dragon for how well actually built they are. They are a very, very nicely built machine, I must say. It was such a pity they didn't do much better than they did. They could have done very, very well, really. The Dragon, more in a business sense, more than as a home computer. It's a real shame it wasn't pursued a little bit more. I do believe there were specialist packages for the Dragon for farmers and things to do their accounts on, so they were tried to be used in that way, but unfortunately I don't think it ever really took off. So there we go. There's the heart of the Dragon. Let's put the case out of harm's way, and we will start with this capacitor up here, I think, and we're going to use the pull-out method, I think. Let's have a look. What have we got there? That was the first one. That's an ITT branded 10 UF capacitor at 16 volts. And nice silk screen. The plus is clearly marked down there. And even better, it's the right way around, and we've got a minus on that side there. So let's get this first capacitor out. We'll have a go with a solder sucker. Might need this. Like I said, sometimes these are brilliant for taking components out, especially IC. Sometimes, especially with capacitors, it can be easy just to rock them out of the board. Let's just make sure we can find which ones they are. It's them two connections there. What we will do is we will add a little bit of nice new. Just clean my iron off a little bit. We'll add a bit of fresh solder to the joints, just to help get them off. We've got a nice ground plane on that side, which will make it a bit trickier. So both legs, we'll just add a little bit of fresh solder to them. Get the old solder sucker in. Heat up the pen, make sure it's nice and molten, and suck away. That's got most of it out. Again, go in and have a quick suck. It is coming off this one. It's because there's such a large ground plane here on this side. It is making it a little tricky to get it out. Let's try the other side. I think my I really do need a new manual solder sucker, and there's no way I'm firing the pace up just to take a couple of capacitors out. I think what we'll do is we'll try giving that a rock. See if we can rock it out. So just heat that side up, bring it out, heat the other side up, pull it out, and then just keep swapping either side. Like I said, sometimes that can be a lot easier to do than actually using a solder sucker. There we go. There's the old capacitor out of the board. All we need to do is just clear the holes there. We probably will be able to do this with the solder sucker now. We go in and we heat up that, and then just go in and clear the hole. That one's misbehaving. So there is a large ground plane here. I think what we'll do is we're going to go with the good old-fashioned solder braid to get this out of the holes. Sometimes I much prefer using this, to be honest. But what I always like to do is get this solder braid out, as you've seen me do in previous videos, is I just get a bit of liquid flux and just run it along the solder braid before I use it. We'll go in here now. I'll try not to get it wrapped around the tripod of the camera. And let's just go in and see if this is going to be the better way of getting that excess solder out of them old holes. Yeah, that's that one, and just work that out. That one's out. Perhaps another little bit on this one. I said that little bit of liquid flux that you add to the solder braid makes all the difference, and they're clear now. And sometimes I do find that that can work better than these things, especially when these are getting a little bit. It's getting a little bit tired, this now. I have done the old trick with WD-40 on it, but I think the rubbers in it are now getting past it. I will buy a new one. But for the rest of this board, I think we're going to use that technique where we warm up each leg. We'll rock the component out. But anyway, before we do that, let's test the component we've just removed. Let me see if I can get you a little bit closer for this so you can see what we're doing. So you've seen me use this in the previous video. This is my Atlas LCR tester, and I'm currently umming and ahhing whether to buy the Atlas ESR tester as well. So I do have an ESR tester, but it is a cheap Chinese thing, as well. These are British and rather nice. Now let's try this capacitor we've just removed. It should be 10 UF, 11.18 UF, so it's not far off. These ITT branded capacitors I did find are rather good. Anyway, let's try that against a brand new one. And I will say, the only thing is these brand new ones in comparison are tiny. Now, that's the new one, that's the old one. And we'll put them next to each other. And this has got the new one. They're both 10 UF capacitors, but the new one's actually got a 35 volt voltage rating on it rather than the 16 volt of the original. Not that it matters. I mean, they've only got like 5 volts on them anyway, so it's irrelevant. But it just shows how technology has gone on. Let's just quickly test this new one. Let's connect that up to the. We'll connect that up to the meter and give it a quick test. It should come around, hopefully around 10 UF. Analysing 9.660 UF, so like tiny little bit under, but so this is brand new. That is over 30 years old now, so we will be changing it anyway. So let's go back to the board. Oh, I better take you back up, haven't you, so you can see what's happening over here. I'll bring you back down over there like that. Okie dokie. Yeah, I think you can see what's happening here. So we've got the hole that we cleaned out there. You can see where the plus is and the negative. We've got the new capacitor. Obviously it is slightly smaller than the old one, but that's not a problem. It is exactly the right capacitance, and it's, like I say, it's a slightly higher voltage rating, which is always going to be good. Let's just seat it down on the board like that. Flip the board back over, and then we just need to solder it in place. Get my iron out. Just give that a quick clean, and we'll just go in. A little bit of solder on that side. A bit of solder on that side, and that's the. Just try to touch around there. That's better. Didn't quite flow right the first time round. No problem with just reheating a leg if you're not quite happy with it on the first pass, especially on something like a capacitor. You may be a bit more concerned, especially on early transistors. They don't like a lot of heat on them, but on capacitors like that it's absolutely fine just to go in again. So if it was a heat sensitive component like an early transistor, you'd want to put a little heat shunt on the leg. But there we go, that's the first capacitor changed. And I think we'll go with this 100 UF over here for the next one. See what condition they're in. And as we've seen, this board's, I don't know whether it's the board's just awkward or whether, like I said, that manual solder sucker of mine's not of its best, but we're just going to warp these out of the board. It's absolutely fine way of doing it, especially for, like I said, for two-legged components. So we'll just heat that side up. In fact, I think what we may actually do, it's definitely the right part. What we will do is just add, even though we're just unsoldering it, we're just going to add a little bit. Let's just make sure we've got the right one. It's definitely them two there. Double check it again. Because I've done it many times where you accidentally take the wrong, you unsolder the wrong leads, and it's maddening to do. Anyway, let's try that. There we go, that was the right one. So we just walk it backwards and forwards, just heat the pads, and there we go, that's the old one out of the board like that. Nice and safe, not done any damage to the board at all. The board's out nice and safe, and all we need to do is just clean up with a bit of solder braid. This has still got the flux on it, so it'll still work fine, and we'll just heat up and wick away a bit of the that old solder now. It'll be easy enough to wick away because we've mixed it with some of the new stuff. Let's go in there like that. That's that one done. That one's being a little bit awkward. Let's try perhaps using the sucker one more time, so we can get this one clear. And sometimes you do have to kind of like alternate different techniques until you get the desired effect. Let's try that again. Let's try spinning that board over. And it's this big ground plane here which is being awkward. Just heat that up and give, oops. Just help if you there we go. And we've got that through now. So you can get ones like this which can be awkward. You do need to make sure your hole's clear. I think actually that is pretty much clear now. What we can do is we can just see if we can push the old component leg through, see if that's clear. No, we're going to have to do a little bit more work on that. What we can do, if we take some fresh solder, just clip a bit of this off. What we will do is we'll add a little bit of new solder to the hole which is being problematic. And we'll just try sucking that away, and hopefully that will bring the rest of it out. Let's go in like that, give it a kneel it. We'll have to wet up another little bit of this with some liquid flux. So it's C now. This one is definitely being a little bit awkward. Let's try adding a little bit of solder from this side. I can't believe how one solder pad can cause you so much grief, but unfortunately this is something that does happen while you're working with this old technology. There are other techniques I could use, but I don't recommend them. I wouldn't want to show you. Like, you could drill through it if you was really struggling with a PCB drill and clear it that way. That's not something I would recommend doing. I have had to do that in the past, especially where it's been very oxidized and for some reason it just wouldn't clear. Still being a little bit of a pain. Let's go back in again. It's a little bit more on. Let's try giving it another. I mean, I could heat the paste up and that would pull it out in seconds, but how many hobbyists have a pasty soldering station sat there to use for something like this? So there we go, that's cleared it. So it's just a case of a little bit of persistence sometimes to clear a hole when you've got a problem like that, but we have, if you can see there, we have cleared it now. Anyway, let's have a look at the old capacitor we removed. We'll connect this up and we'll see what value. I don't expect it to be too far off, to be honest. We're doing this more for future proofing the computer more than anything. That's showing us 105.4 UF. Like it should be 100, so it's not horrendously out. These are the new ones. As you can see, diameter wise it's about the same, but it's about half the actual height, and these are again rated at 35 volts where these ones are only rated at 16 volts. Let's try this on the tester. So we'll get that on like that. Let's see what this one tells us. It should be just around the 100 UF, like I said, it is a branny. 97.32, that's absolutely fine. So let's put this in the board again. Make sure we get it the right way around. So that's negative that way, positive that way. We'll slip him down like that. Spin it over. Let's get some fresh solder. Take that up. Let's go in there. Solder that side. Solder that side. I always keep these legs. I have a little pot. I will stick all these legs in, because these are great for repairing tracks on boards and bridging things, and repairing ICs when they've got a snapped off leg, you name it. They come in handy, them cut off component legs. So that's that one replaced. So we've replaced that one up there, we've replaced that one. Let's have a go at this one here, which again is another 10 UF 16 volt. And we will just we'll walk this one out again, and then we'll clean up the holes. So heat up one side, make sure you got it molten hull, heat up the other side, and you have to make sure the solder is properly molten. You don't want to risk damaging the actual pad doing this. Like I said, you shouldn't really on a two-hole component. You can just walk them out like this. That's that side out. Sometimes they'll get stuck on this side like this one has, so just a little bit of heat and there we go, it's out. And then again we need to just clean up these clean up the holes. So what we will do is we'll add a little bit of fresh solder. Like that. And like that. I'll have one last go with this, with the solder sucker, see if we can suck it out. If we can't suck it out, we'll see if we can get it out with the solder braid. So let's heat that up, go in with the sucker and suck away. Go in with the sucker and suck away. That's nearly out on that one. And again, try it from the other side. The aim of the game is you just don't want to damage the actual board if you can help it at all. See, they're fairly clear on that side. It's just this side that's being a little bit tricky, so we will go in with the older solder wick again and see if we can wick it out. And it's really down to how old the solder is that you have these issues getting it out. That one's clear, you see. Let's have another go at this one. And that was the one I thought I'd struggle with more, with it being on the ground plane. We'll just have to add another little bit of fresh solder. Like that. So then we'll go back in and see if we can just suck that, we'll wick that out with this. Let's have a look there now. Nail it. It's being a little bit awkward with this one again. So again, back in with the old fresh solder. Let's have another suck at it. We'll have to go and try on this side. See, that one's nice and clear there. It's the fact there's a big 5 volts plane here which is causing the issue, because it's sucking all the heat away from where we want to remove it. So we'll add a little bit more solder there. I think we'll go in with the braid this time. Suck away with the braid. Just being awkward, that one, because there's so much round it. It's basically hooking all the heat away from where I want to remove the solder. Let's try the other side again. And what you've got to be so careful of, if you're not careful and you overheat it too much, is you're going to damage the little through hole here. And then you'll have problems getting the capacitor to sit properly. You will get it in and working, but it won't look right, and you will struggle a little bit if you damage the through hole here. But all it takes is perseverance, and you will get it. it has been a real pain, this one. There's another reason why I like doing this in full time and not editing it, so you can see that we do struggle like mad sometimes. I just love it when you watch someone do one of these computers and everything goes absolutely perfectly, and every hole sucks out absolutely perfectly, because it's never like that when you actually try and do them. Let's put somewhere out on there. We'll have another go at that. Must literally be a tiny little bit of solder down in there which is being awkward. I can just try pushing a leg through it, see if it's quite thick, because I can't push a leg through it. Sometimes it's literally just like a little surface tension of solder and you can get a leg and it'll push right through it, but not in this case. That one is being a real pain. All you can really do is just keep trying. So either going with the solder braid or the solder sucker. Until it clears. I've not had one that's been this much of a pain in a long time. Usually adding the fresh solder is all you need, and pop, it's clear, you know. So this one has been a real pain in the whatnots. There we go, finally. Just to show that it is possible. There we go. We have actually finally cleared it out. That one was a right pain in the bum. Let us quickly test this capacitor. So we connect it up positive on that, negative on that side. Let's see this one. There we go, that's so I mean, they're pretty much on value, these, but let's get a new one of these tiny little ones out. It really is, how long are they going to last when they are over 30 years old now? Well over 30 years old now. When's this computer from? 1982. It's 2017, nearly 2018. 9.799, so yeah, that's fine. I'll stick this one. Stick this one in. Well, once again, I can only apologise. Unfortunately, my camcorder battery died once again. It's meant to run for about 2 hours on a full charge, and I'm probably getting about 35 minutes, I think, on a full charge. The battery is absolutely shot in it. I didn't notice it had gone off, and I finished recapping this board. I think we got up to perhaps doing that capacitor there. But I mean, you've seen me change capacitors on a board before. There's no rocket science to it or anything. We've changed that one as well, which was a 10 UF, and we've changed the one down there, which actually it turned out it was a 33 UF, but I had some of them in stock anyway. So that is basically the Dragon Logic board now, as we can see, completely recapped, all new electrolytic capacitors. Like I say, I'm going to leave the tantalum capacitors in there for now, unless they start causing an issue. If we look on the back, we've done no damage at all. All the soldering is nice and neat and tidy. So yeah, so I'm really annoyed about that. I'm going to have to see. Actually, I've been told that there's a possibility that this old camera that I've got, that I might be able to use an old iPhone. I think it's either an iPhone 4 or 5 battery to replace the original battery in it, which apparently may give me actually longer recording time. Anyway, I think you can perhaps get about 3.5 hours recording time using that, using an iPhone battery in them. It's just something I was looking up online, but it's definitely it's had it, this camera, as it is for now. I can't rely on being able to film and every few minutes just looking up to see what the battery on my camera is. Anyway, I'm going to leave this here for now. Actually, apologies that you missed the end of that. I'm going to do one more video on this subject, and that's going to be, we're going to put the Dragon 32 back together. We're going to see whether the video quality is improved on it. We'll do some cleaning on these contacts and some of the other contacts on it before it goes back together, and we'll do some testing of the completed Dragon 32. So I hope you enjoyed that for now. Like I said, I'm sorry that we lost a little bit of footage there, but I hope you tune in for the next instalment. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.